Hi everyone! We are already halfway into 2025, so like last year, I will show and talk about all the digital art I made in these 6 months. I draw a lot, almost every day, so it's just easier to break this down into 2 parts. I use IBIS Paint X for my digital art, and here are the brushes I use the most. I also list them on my Instagram posts. A little warning, sometimes I draw nudity, blood, and some suggestive or sensitive stuff here and there, so be aware of that. I will also give additional warnings before those pieces come up. I also mostly draw my characters with some fan art every once in a while, so I hope you like OCs. And with that, let's just get into it. Okay, first up is this piece of my character Bonnie. Great start. It's based on a meme I saw. Maybe I'll be able to find it. I remember being really happy with this when I drew it, but now Bonnie's face looks a little weird to me. The proportions are a little off. I did the next few drawings for a little TikTok challenge. I saw people use a filter where you type something and it creates an emoji out of that. And for the challenge you just type your character's name into the filter and draw them with the expression you got. I used characters from my warmed up story. I need to draw them again, I haven't worked on that story in so long. First is Oliver, and he turned out the best. The expression fits him, and I just love him, so no matter what, he will be the best. Next is Nicole. She's okay, the expression is a little out of character. I kinda want to rework her design a little bit. I always felt like she was a little bland, I don't know. Next is Tasha. I don't know what happened here. I love Tasha's face, especially from the side, but I really struggled with the front view. I figured it out later, here it's really bad. Next is my baby cat. I love her so much and she's my second favorite from this. And lastly, I drew Tyler as well. I like the look I gave them here, but the expression is very out of character. Tyler isn't the best character for these kind of challenges because they are not expressive at all. Blood warning for the next drawings. Skip to this timestamp if you don't want to see that. Okay, these are sketches and they're a bit rough looking. For quick context, these are my characters Elsa and Ben. Elsa is a witch. When they were both teens, they liked each other but were too scared to confess, so she put a love spell on him. They dated for a bit, and then Ben died from the side effects of the spell. Years later, she revived him, and now he's kind of a zombie. And when I did these sketches, I got an idea that maybe one of the side effects from getting revived is that now Ben has to feed on blood to survive? Maybe? And this is when Elsa finds that out, I guess? I haven't really worked on this idea much, but I think I should. Also, to be clear, this is not a healthy relationship. I find their dynamic really interesting and they give me a lot of ideas, but it's not healthy. Next are my characters Mingu and Dan, and this was kind of a trend on TikTok to draw over this slideshow. I've seen people do their OCs, as well as characters from already existing media. I really like this. I was so happy and giggly when I drew this, I don't know why. I think at the time I was still in my Mingu and Dan phase. I still love them of course, but I haven't been drawing them much. Speaking of which, next is a little comic. This is also very sketchy, I just wanted to visualize a lore idea. This is at the start of their story. They're not really friends yet. Mingu is still very skeptical of Dan, and Dan is still a huge people pleaser and never stands up to his ignorant friends. But don't worry, it gets better after a while. I like that slideshow so much that I drew it twice. But these are Susie and Mark from my Animatic story. I like this a lot too. I don't draw these characters much though. Blood warning for the next drawing. Skip to this timestamp if you don't want to see that. Okay, here I was expanding on that Ben idea. Maybe Elsa decides to give him her own blood so he doesn't hurt anyone else, but also so no one finds out about him. She's obsessed with the idea of saving him, even though she's the reason he died in the first place. Mingu and Dan. I told you I was in a phase. This is when they finally have a proper conversation, clear up some misunderstandings, and officially become friends. And again, this is a colored sketch. I did this a lot at the time. I got a lot of ideas and just needed to visualize them, so I did sketches instead of full drawings. Warning for these sensitive topics. Skip to this timestamp if you need to. Oh boy, immediately after that I wanted to expand on this and do like 50 something frames of the conversation they had. I imagine this is at some kind of party. Mingu stepped away to get some air and then joins him to talk, then finally cut off his awful friends and started making progress. Those friends have told him a lot of horrible things about Mingu, and the two of them clear it up. I tried really hard on a dialogue here. This is kind of an information dump, but I wanted it to be kind of natural. Drawing this also took a lot out of me, and that made it very clear to me that I'm still not ready to draw comics. And these are just sketches, and I reused a lot of the frames, and I still barely finished it. But I remember having a lot of fun drawing Mingu. He was turning out really good every time, and that felt very satisfying. Oh, also, this is when I got a lot of Heartstopper comparisons, and I would be lying if I said that wasn't annoying. I like Heartstopper, but it wasn't an inspiration for these two. This is meant to be a cover for my warmed up story. I wanted to make covers for all of my stories, so when I'm talking about them in my videos, for example, it's a lot easier to differentiate them, but I ended up making just this one. It's cute though, I like it. This story is definitely the most simple out of all of my stories. It's just a slice of life, focused on character relationships, platonic and romantic. I haven't worked on it in a while. This one's funny. This is Bonnie's genuine and canon expression sheet. She's not very expressive, clearly. I literally just drew a base without eyebrows and slightly adjusted them for each expression. That's it. And what's crazy is this got really popular on my Instagram. Like, it got a lot more reach than usual, and I don't know why. Algorithms are weird. I kinda want to redo this though. Her face anatomy is a little funky. Mingu and Dan again, of course. The idea here is that Dan is actually a lot more shy than Mingu. Mingu shows just a tiny bit of skin, and Dan gets all nervous, and Mingu just stares without a care in the world. With these two, I try not to make them stereotypical. I've been told a lot of times that their designs do look a bit stereotypical, and I get that. They do kind of resemble a typical manhwa couple. I used to read those a lot, so maybe that played a role when I first made them. I always make a conscious effort to make them act like two adult men, and not like this. Now I absolutely despise this dynamic. But I also try not to go so much away from the stereotype that they just end up on the opposite end of the spectrum. Mingu and Dan are both adults, they act like adults, even if visually they might look a bit stereotypical. Plus their looks impact the story as well, so there's that. Nudity warning for the next drawing. It will be censored just in case, but you can skip to this timestamp if you need to. This is one of my favorite Elsa drawings I have ever done. I just love it so much. I love her face here, I love how her body turned out, and the process was very enjoyable. I also tried to draw sheer fabric here. I love drawing Elsa like this. Not completely sexualized, but more so tastefully naked, if you know what I mean. Oh god, these ones. This is another TikTok trend where people were doing whatever this is. I took a bunch of them and drew my The Witch's Sorrows and warmed up characters over them. I even tried to measure the poses to their personalities as well. Unironically, this was also kind of a pose and perspective study. These were really fun to do. They're so stupid. I like to sometimes take a step back and draw something silly like this. You'll see that a lot going forward. I did fan art for once. I sketched my human versions of Don't Hug Me I'm Scared characters. I remember drawing them quite a bit back when the TV show came out, and this was kind of a redraw of that. I gave Red a less ashy skin color, I made Duck more visibly old and balding, and I made Yellow a bit older looking as well. I like this. Okay, this is when I got a lot of requests to draw Dan as a little spoon. I think this was also my first attempt to actually draw a room, an environment, by hand. Before this I would use photos. I pretty much traced my reference photo and added Dan and Mingu into it. The end result doesn't look too bad. It took a lot of airbrushing and blurring though. Next I did a bunch of Squid Game Season 2 portraits. I tried to keep the characters' features while drawing them in my art style, and I managed to do that on some of these. First is my queen, Hyunju. This makes me very sad after watching Season 3. I made her a bit more exaggerated than I planned, but I still like it. Next is Daeho. This also makes me very sad after watching Season 3. That's fun. But I don't think I translated his features very well. Next is Namgyu, and this might be a little controversial, but I like him, a lot. I find him really interesting, and I really like the actor that plays him. Roger Won is gorgeous. Then I drew Junhee. It's cute, but again, I don't think I translated her features very well. I'm not great at digital portraits, I find them much easier to do on paper. Then I also drew Myungi, and this is probably even more controversial, especially after Season 3, but I like him too. It's just because of the actor. Siwon is so talented that after watching that season I looked into him more and ended up watching a bunch of dramas and movies he's in, and I really like this drawing. I feel like it's actually pretty accurate. Next is Yeonmi. I don't think I captured her features super well. Blood warning for the next piece. Skip to here if you need to. Then I drew Thanos and Namgyu, but here I actually tried to stylize and simplify them, and I really like the result. I find Namgyu's face really fun to draw. Then I drew Thanos again, but this is supposed to be somewhat accurate. I like this one a lot too. Here I drew Namgyu again, but again more stylized. I love the full body sketch. He looks like a mischievous cat. Okay, next I wanted to challenge myself and finally commit to drawing actual backgrounds. I did a whole video about that, so I'll go through these quickly. First up are sketch studies, some color studies. Next is a reference study. Love this one still. I don't love this one as much. Then I drew a room for my OC Rachel. I still have mixed feelings about this one. I might redraw it. And this one is my favorite from that video. Here I had to actually put the characters into an environment. I do think I can do better now, but I still love it so much. It's Dan and Mingu. The lore attached to this is really important as well. I talk about that in the video, so watch the video. Another Hyunju portrait. I tried to make her a bit less exaggerated than that previous drawing, and I think I did pretty good. It looks like her, but it's still in my style. Another Namgyu sketch, as it says, from memory. And then I also decided to draw Semi. She's pretty, but personally I didn't really care much about her. I like this drawing though. For this drawing I used this base I saw on TikTok. This wasn't meant to be a cover for The Witch of Sorrows, but I've kind of been using it as one. Maybe I'll redo it a little bit and make it the actual cover. I feel like it needs a few small adjustments. This is Junwoo from Strangers from Hell. Like I said, I was watching everything Im Shi-won was in, and Strangers from Hell was first on my list. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I even rewatched it, which I don't usually do. I wish I made more fan art of it. This drawing is fine, I remember really struggling with the sketch. Next I did a few memes. I was seeing these kind of comics on Twitter, so I did one with Bonnie. I was giggling a lot while drawing this. Next is this. I might be able to find the original. I love this one. I made a lot of memes with Cassandra, Bonnie's mom. She's one of my favorite OCs I have. This is basically Ben's and Elsa's plot. Speaking of which, then I redrew this screenshot from Challengers with a Ben. This is when he's more healed from getting revived, I guess. I like the shading here. Another Twitter meme. This is Sam and her girlfriend Natalie. This particular drawing got a lot of traction on Pinterest for some reason. I don't know why. I don't really check likes on Pinterest, but this is at least one of my most popular posts on there. Then I did a little video with my definitely not DHMIS MP OCs. I have a video about them.
If y'all put some sanitizer on y'all hand, y'all can hold my baby. But here he go right here. Ain't he cute? What his name is, girl? He looks just like you. He got Marcus toes. It is so cute. That baby is ugly as hell. Why is white like that?
I like this little sketch a lot. This is Melanie from my Many Magic universe. I used to draw her a lot. This was a post practice and I just wanted to draw a cool outfit. This universe is pretty much an excuse for me to draw really elaborate outfits. Blood warning for the next piece. Skip to here if you need to. Here I was working out Elsa's mother's lore. Their relationship is complicated. This story has witchcraft, and the way it works is a witch inherits her powers from her mother, but only one child can have it. Paula didn't get powers, which already affected her relationship with her family. Then her younger sister was born, got the powers, and it got a lot worse. Paula always felt really neglected, so once she turned 18, she moved out and stopped contacting her family. She was living a nice life, found a husband, got pregnant, and had Elsa. For the first few years, everything was perfect. But then, when Elsa was 5, her powers showed up, which was strange because usually they show up around 13. Paula was absolutely terrified. Quickly, the rest of the family found out about this and barged back into Paula's life. From there, her relationship with Elsa got a lot worse. Paula began to resent her own daughter, and as the years went on, it got worse and worse. They argued all the time. Paula was very strict, did all she could to keep Elsa from using magic, and Elsa disobeyed her a lot. When Ben passed away and Elsa was panicking and asking her mom for help, Paula told her to pack her bags, they were leaving the city, and they left. A few years later, Paula passed away from a sickness, Elsa came back, and then the main story begins. Yep, I don't know. And then I also made a few sketches of Ben and Elsa together. They're really happy here, but I want to work on it more. I want it to be less perfect. Elsa would probably be really possessive and jealous. Drew Bonnie again, and this was a coloring experiment. I wanted to try and only use shades of purple with a few red accents. I like the coloring, but again her facial anatomy is a little funky. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think this is also when I changed her necklace design a little bit. She's also a witch, and that's where her witch powers are stored. I didn't like the previous design anymore. I wanted it to look more handmade. Cassandra's average weekend. Then I did a 10 art styles challenge with Bonnie. Of course I made a video about that as well. I had a lot of fun doing it. I did Growing Up Creepy, Lala Loopsy, My Little Pony, Gravity Falls, Sally Face, Junji Ito, Brujo Ari, Invader Zim, Arcane, and Daria. This is still one of my favorite Cassandra drawings I've done. For a while, I just couldn't figure out how to draw her face from any other angle than front. I don't know why, but then here it just clicked, and I started pumping out more Cassandra drawings. Oh, and this is based on this meme. I wanted to try and draw Bonnie smiling. Didn't feel very natural. I love this one. It makes me giggle. It makes me go haha. Are there skeletons in this universe? No. Does Cassandra still have beef with them? Yes. Another TikTok meme with her. And another one. Love this one. And another one. Then here I wanted to explore her style more. She wears a lot of really random stuff, sometimes it doesn't match super well. I love the cardigan, maybe she made it herself. But my favorite is probably the third look. I gave her the leather old person phone case. Then I did a few more Twitter memes with Cassandra. Do skeletons and gnomes exist in this universe? No, but it's funny. I was still in the Cassandra phase, so I drew a little comic. She loves to collect random stuff, including the creepiest clown dolls that she finds precious, but she doesn't always pay for them. Well, she rarely pays for them. This is also the first time I drew her mom and Bonnie's grandma. This design is a little rough, it gets better later. This is another little flashback. This is when Mingu unfortunately got kicked out by his parents and Cassandra welcomed him into her home with open arms. Mingu and Bonnie basically grew up together, so Mingu is kind of like a second child to Cassandra. I always find it interesting to draw my characters younger, but it also feels really weird every time. I feel like this next piece needs a warning, so I guess gore warning for the next drawing. Skip here if you need to. I like the idea here. I don't know if I'm fully satisfied with the execution. This is Elsa putting Ben together. I imagine his body would need to be patched up. Something about this drawing is bugging me, but I'm not sure what it is. I also remember that originally I wanted to do no line art here, so it kind of looks like a painting, but I quickly gave up. I might redraw this. This is based on this trend. It's a bit old, but I never did it, so why not? First is Elsa as a teenager, before Ben's death, and this is Elsa afterwards. Angry, alone, and very bitter. I had fun drawing this. Here I was designing Dan's and Ben's mom, Seline. She looks a little different now, and she actually has a lore, but these sketches are okay. And here I was designing Mingu's sister, Hyunjae. She's the only one who's still in contact with Mingu, while their parents don't want anything to do with him because of his sexuality. She tries to repair the relationship, always gives them updates on Mingu, but they're incredibly stubborn. I love her face so much. It was really fun to take Mingu's features, adjust them to create a brand new face. I need to draw her more. This little sketch is when I got the idea that Cassandra likes to call Bonnie Bunny. It's just cute. This is not Tabo, okay? Not anymore. This is Thaddeus. Watch the video. He's a mechanic, but not a very good one, so a lot of his machines explode, and this is kind of a before and after his experiments. I did this sketch of Daisy for a meme, but I like it a lot and this look really suits her. I love it. I was doing a lot of line art and only drawing for The Witch's Sorrows, so here I wanted to take a step back from that and draw Cat. No line art, it's from Warmed Up for once, and I love this drawing. Cat is always so fun to draw for me. I love the full body. A few more Cassandra memes. I imagine this is what it's like to go grocery shopping with her. I wanted to give some of my other characters some attention, so I drew Daisy. I haven't drawn him in a while, and I think this is also when I made him gender fluid. It just clicked in my head. I don't know why I don't draw Daisy much, she's so cool. Then I drew Sam, and here I was kind of experimenting with her hair, and I like it a lot. I love the drawing on the right, she looks so pretty. Another flashback, with Sam and Mingu this time. This is when they first met. They were both applying for the student council. Mingu was incredibly nervous. He's not a very social person and he was kind of forced to apply by his teacher. She saw the potential he has. And Sam is a lot more relaxed and is applying because she wants to. I tried to reflect that in their body language. Hope you can tell. It was so weird to draw them with their natural hair colors. It was so weird that right after that I drew them dyeing their hair. This is a big bonding moment for them. This helps Mingu get more open and confident. His parents never let him do something like that, but now he's away from them and can do whatever he wants. It was actually really fun to draw the hair dye. I love this one a lot. It was originally supposed to be a little comic where Dan comes out to Sam as bisexual, but I quickly gave up and scrapped the comic idea. Instead, I really took my time with the poses, the line art, and the coloring, and I think it really paid off. I also tried to make this as natural as possible. I didn't want him to just say, "I am bisexual." I tried to make it naturally come up in a conversation. Dan is lying a little bit though. Sam, in fact, does know who his crush is. She knows him very well. Another little trend I saw and hopped on. It's one of those draw this picture but as you and your OC, and I did a bunch of those. It was fun. I'm not sure if that really looks like me though. I usually struggle when drawing myself. I again wanted to give Sam some attention, so I drew her and Natalie. I love their side profiles here. I sometimes struggle with them. Their relationship still needs a lot of work though. As of right now, it just kind of happens off screen. I don't know if I want it to be super relevant in the story. Here I was exploring a more masculine side of Daisy's style. After making her gender fluid, I thought it would be fun to sometimes give her more mask outfits. Obviously, being gender fluid doesn't mean that you automatically have to switch between feminine and masculine clothes. Dress however you want. But I wanted to try that with Daisy, and I like it. Another trend, people were redrawing this frame from the Archie comics, I think, so I wanted to hop on that. I used Mingu and Dan, of course. This isn't exactly their dynamic, but for a silly little drawing, why not? Why not have some fun? Sam and Mingu again, and this is inspired by this tweet. I imagine some people might mistake them for a couple because they're very close. I like their expressions. This is for sure my current favorite drawing of Elsa. It's based on this image. I again saw a lot of people redraw it. I love everything about this. I even have it as a wallpaper on my phone. The next bunch of drawings are actually my followers' OCs that I drew for a video. I set up an email and an Instagram hashtag. People sent in their OCs. I randomly chose a bunch of them and drew them in my style. It's kind of an ongoing thing on my channel. I do this every once in a while. Funnily enough, while I'm working on this video, I'm also working on the next Drawing Your OCs video. This was so much fun. It was really cool to draw so many different characters. I definitely recommend checking this out. Maybe your character could appear in one of these. Blood and gore warning for the next drawing. Skip to this timestamp if you don't want to see that. Here I was once again updating Ben's revived design. I keep changing my mind on it. I changed his scars, especially on his body. I tried to make them look like autopsy scars. This is again me getting a little lore idea and drawing it out before I forget. This is Mingu and Hyunjae. If it wasn't clear, they're Korean. They speak both Korean and English, and as someone who also grew up speaking multiple languages, I imagine they would use a mix of both, especially when talking to each other, and this is me trying to visualize that. Mingu's proportions are a little weird, but Hyunjae looks really nice here. I need to draw her more. This is again something I saw on Twitter and TikTok. A lot of people were redrawing this image. No idea where it's from, but it's so Cassandra. Love this one. A few Hyunjae sketches. I love the side profile. And here I started working on Bonnie's grandma's design. She didn't have a name at this point, but her name is Beatrice. I tried to really get out of my comfort zone with her facial features. Also, I only realized this when I did the little chibi sketches, but Beatrice, Cassandra, and Bonnie all have moles on the right side of their faces. It was completely accidental, but it works. Another Elsa drawing. I found the perfect reference and jumped to draw this. God, I love drawing her legs. Elsa again. I remember I did the sketch for this a few months earlier, kind of gave up on it for whatever reason, then came back and colored it. Her face looks really evil here and I didn't want to waste it. Drew Cat again. I decided to give her freckles because why the heck not? I also changed her face a tiny bit and I added this little doodle as well. Next is Daisy, and at first this was just a full body, but then I decided to make a turnaround out of it. I haven't done it before and it was challenging, but also really fun. He's spinning! Another quick Sam drawing. This outfit has kind of become a default look for her. Whenever I draw her without a specific look in mind, I automatically go for this. This was my first attempt at drawing younger Cassandra. I can't say I did super well. When I first designed her, I was doing it with wrinkles in mind. They're part of her character pretty much, so it was a challenge to remove them and still make it look like Cassandra. This is meant to be her yearbook photo, so I'll just pretend that it's a bad photo and not me messing up. I give it a try again, and this was a lot more successful. I love this. It actually looks like Cassandra, but younger, and I also added Beatrice because why not? I love their big hair, that was fun to do. I haven't mentioned this yet, but most of the characters so far were originally created when I was in middle school. In these videos I completely redid them, gave them new designs and stories, and I was curious, so I sketched out their current designs and their old designs to compare. It was a bit challenging because my middle school art style is very different from my current one. I had to remember what they look like in my head and also include elements from those old sketches. Some people said that these kind of look like younger versions of these characters, which is a really cute way to look at it. I love that. We got fan art! This is my take on Human Discord from My Little Pony. Well, he was supposed to wear a long skirt, but I really like the position of his legs, so I switched it to pants. Actually, looking at this now, he kind of has a similar style to Cassandra. Cool. Guess that's another character archetype I fall into. Drew Seline again. I like the hand, I don't think I used a reference there. I also like the colors. She looks nice, but over time her face got less slim. You'll see later. This one was such a challenge. It's Bonnie and Cassandra having a cozy evening, probably watching some trashy reality TV show. I drew the background by hand. It was a lot for me. The liner took forever, but I actually really like how it looks. The coloring also took a while. Choosing the colors was tricky. Their house is supposed to look kind of cluttered and random, but I still want a nice color palette, you know? I did a little video with Mingu and Sam. I guess this could be an animatic. I like it a lot.
You guys want to know what it's like being friends with Frankie, right?
Most fun thing in the world.
He tries to make it seem like I'm mean or whatever, right? This is the voicemails that you get when you miss his call.
Don't you ever send me a voicemail again, you... I dare you!
And that was at 10:30 a.m.
Ooh, this is my design for Howlin' Wolf from Monster High. I was mainly inspired by her first G1 design. It's my all-time favorite. I remember as a kid reading her character bio online, and in the favorite color graph it said it changes every day or something like that, and that made me think that Howlin' was a really chaotic and fun character that changes her look a lot. And then when her second doll came out with pink straight hair, I was like, oh fun, so she will have different hair colors all the time. But then her hair just stayed pink and mostly straight. I'm so glad they brought her curls back in G3. Also, I made this design into an actual doll, and it might be my most popular custom so far. I posted her on my doll Instagram, and it's my most popular post there. People really liked her, and I'm grateful for that. I'm really proud of her. Another Elsa drawing, but I did this one for a tutorial. I did a coloring tutorial, it's long, but I do my best to explain and show my process. I showed how I do line art, how I color without line art, and share tips and tricks all throughout the video. I kinda want to go back and color the line art though, it turned out really nice. Then I drew Twyla and Howleen from Monster High hanging out on the bleachers. Twyla's design is kind of what I wanted my Twyla doll to look like. The makeup and hair from Neon Frights, dress from Fearbook, sleeves from Core Refresh Joculora, and at some point she did look like that, but then I kind of didn't care for the doll anymore and actually turned her into Bonnie. Watch that video. This is Cassandra when she was pregnant with Bonnie. So sweet. I think this was my first time drawing a pregnant person, unless I forgot, but I love this so much. Cassandra was so excited to have a daughter. A flashback again. This is Ben and Dan as teenagers, probably walking home from school, back when Dan was a huge yapper. This is my redesign of Cupid from Monster High. I think I drew this when the first promo photos came out. I combined elements of her G3 design with elements of my older Ever After High Cupid redesign. I like this a lot. It was very fun to draw. This is a flashback of Seline shortly after Ben passed away. It hit her very hard, and even years later it still affects her. She loves both of her kids more than anything, but she definitely had a special bond with Ben. He's her first baby after all. After he passed away, their family was never the same. Seline and her husband became more distant, to the point they started sleeping in separate rooms. At one point they were even considering divorce, but decided against it to not make Dan's life harder than it already is. I like this drawing. More mom lore. Next I drew Paula and Elsa. I think I was referencing a painting for this, I might be able to find it while editing. Elsa still tried to cling onto her mother, she still wants to feel her love, but Paula just can't give it to her. This is Rochelle from Monster High, and this is actually my custom doll I made of her. She's one of my favorite customs, and this drawing was fun to do. Then I drew Frankie from Monster High, specifically from the Scary Sweet Birthday line. They are so perfect to me and I need this doll in my collection. Actually, I need that entire line. I only have Cupid so far. I love how this turned out. I also gave Frankie braces because why not? It's fun. Then it was my birthday and I decided to draw an updated Meet the Artist. I really like this. I feel like I captured myself pretty well here and I really took my time with all the details. When I do something like this, I always have trouble with likes and dislikes. Suddenly I forget everything about myself. I also love the little doodles for alternative outfits. I was thinking of drawing them on top of the main full body, but this was already taking a long time to finish, so I just did the little doodles instead. I love this one. It's Mingu and Bonnie at prom. They went together and of course Cassandra was there too. She's probably the one taking the photo. I like the color scheme here and I like how the two of them turned out. Bonnie is also wearing Cassandra's lipstick. Then I wanted to practice drawing kisses. I've always had trouble with them, and I still do, I think. I drew Mingu and Dan, Cassandra and Bonnie. This is platonic, of course. We don't do that weird stuff here. Carmen and Wendy, background characters from The Witch's Sorrows. They are teachers at the college all the main characters go to, and Wendy is also a witch. Sam and Natalie, love this one. Natalie's tattoos are always such a pain to draw though. Oliver and Nicole, so sweet. Tasha and Kat, this one is probably my favorite. And lastly, Elsa and Ben. These were definitely challenging, but still really fun. Then I did a little video with Tasha and Kat. I can't include the song, but yeah. But hey, I figured out how to draw Tasha's face from the front. Next, I drew Dan and Elsa, based on this screenshot from Arcane Season 2. The idea here is Elsa putting on a friendly face when reuniting with Dan. She still cares about him as a friend, but she can't show him her real self. At least not yet. The faces look a little weird here. I might redo this. Okay, this is when I got the idea that maybe Cassandra and Seline have history. Very interesting history. I love how Cassandra looks here, and when I posted it, I immediately got multiple comments comparing Seline to Lois Griffin. Peter, the horse is here. I drew over another TikTok trend. This is where people were saying to their parents, "I'm so hungry I could eat," and name a random person from their past. And this is where I decided that, yes, Cassandra and Seline did date in the past. Yes, let's do that. And it's also an interesting dynamic. Cassandra is a witch and Seline is married to a witch hunter. Ooh. So to expand on that, I drew a flashback of Cassandra and Seline. They were in a relationship back in college, but it didn't quite work out, so they broke up after a while and later created their own families. This was very fun to draw, and I added this little doodle of Dan and Bonnie reacting to this revelation. Next, I wanted to give Daisy a little attention, so I made my own OC drawing challenge and dedicated a whole video to that. I didn't really like any of the prompt lists I saw online, so I just made my own. I focused on character design and a little bit of lore. I've seen people do this challenge, even in full YouTube videos, and that feels really awesome. I talk about each of these drawings in the video, so I won't do that here, but this was very fun and I was happy to work on Daisy more. For that challenge, I drew Daisy's family, including her younger sister Iris. I liked her a lot, so right after I wanted to work on her design more. I improved her face, hair, and color palette. When designing her, I immediately knew I wanted her to have a blue, brown, and beige color scheme, as well as orange hair. I like this design a lot more. Then I drew Beatrice. Nothing much here. And then I also drew Iris. I was playing around with the tooth gap. It did stick around later. Okay, in that Daisy video, I also mentioned that I tend to fall into similar character archetypes, specifically black, short, and chubby characters. Cat, Daisy, and Max are perfect examples, so here I was trying to differentiate them more without completely changing the designs. It would have been easy to just completely redesign them to make them different, but I didn't want that. Instead, I added a few adjustments to them. I'm pretty attached to Cat and Daisy's designs, so they didn't change much, but I'm not nearly as attached to Max, so I changed them more drastically. I made them taller and gave them a different skin tone. I gave Daisy a more hourglass body shape and made Cat's body more round. I wish I gave Daisy an outfit that shows his body more. With a baggy outfit, it's hard to see that these characters have different body types, but I'm glad I did this. Then I drew Thaddeus. Again, it used to be Tabo, but it isn't anymore. I like this drawing. Drew Iris again, and I love this drawing, especially the one on the right. She just looks so sweet and cute. But so far she doesn't have a lot of lore besides being Daisy's sister. More memes. It's kind of become a thing for me when I don't have any drawing ideas. But you guys seem to like these, so why not? Then I did my OC drawing challenge again, but with Bonnie, and of course I made a video out of that too. This was also a lot of fun, and with some of these I tried to go out of my comfort zone. I drew a whole background for the "with a character they are closest to" prompt, where she's hanging out on the couch with Mingu. Love that one. The outfits were also really fun to draw. The drawing with Elsa caused a few enemies to lovers comments, and no. I'm all for enemies to lovers, but not with these two. Bonnie is her ace and not interested in relationships at all, and Elsa is too obsessed with Ben, so no. And for the family portrait, I finally worked out Beatrice's design. Then I did this little Beatrice sketch. She's really grumpy in the morning. Another Iris drawing. I forgot about the tooth gap. Oops. Another Iris drawing, and I love this one. This outfit is very cute, I like how the coloring turned out, but I was a little lost on what to do in the background, and I did not forget the tooth gap. Then I drew Cupid again, and this is when I did this video. I was finally able to make my redesign into a doll, and now she's one of my favorites in my collection. Surprisingly, that video performed a lot better than I expected. Usually when I experiment with content and do something very different from usual, it doesn't perform as well, so I'm really grateful for that, and there will be more doll customizing content. I'm literally working on it as I'm recording this video. Oh yeah, and I really like this drawing. Cupid looks very sweet. Then I did this video where I took more of my old DHMIS SMP fan art and turned it into C's because I can. This time I didn't have much to go off of. In the first video I redesigned the characters I used to draw the most and had pretty nice designs to work with. Here I went very far from the original designs, but it was a lot of fun. With this universe I can really go out of my comfort zone and go a little crazy with the designs, since all of them are some kind of creatures or hybrids. Watch the video. I also revisited some designs from the first video and updated them. And here is kind of a height chart for all the characters in this universe so far. I remember feeling kind of drained after all those redesigns, so I just drew Iris. She's kind of become a I have no ideas but still want to draw something character for me. I love the little curl for bangs. Okay, next I did a whole 2-minute animatic with Cassandra, and it's also a voice claim video in a way. I'm really happy with it. I put a lot of time and effort into it, so go and watch it. But first I wanted to draw a few backgrounds of their house so the animatic is more interesting looking. These took 4 freaking ever, but I like them a lot. They're not perfect, the perspective is a little off sometimes, especially in the kitchen background, but I kinda like that. I didn't want them to look super realistic and clean, otherwise they wouldn't match the characters, and they definitely helped a lot while doing the frames. Instead of drawing a new background every time, I could just use these 3 and zoom in on different parts of them for different scenes. I might color them at some point. Here I was designing Sam's aunt. I kind of always had the idea that she was raised by her aunt, I don't know why, but I like Laura, she's really cool. She probably won't be very important in the story though. To take a step back from the Witch's Sorrows, I drew Tyler again. They're a character that changes their appearance all the time. I have a few of those. This way it's still very fun for me to draw them, even though their facial expression is the same all the time. And I like this drawing a lot. I think the colors look really nice here. Then I drew Tyler again, but a full body this time. Tyler's style also changes a lot, but this silhouette is kind of a default for them. If I don't have a specific outfit in mind, I will give them this. I like this a lot too. I basically free-handed the outfit as well. Iris again, and I added a blueberry cheesecake. I don't draw food a lot, maybe I should. I love the pattern on her sweater, I really enjoy drawing those. Drew Elsa again after about a month of not drawing her. That was kind of crazy to realize. This is also a pose study. Sometimes I draw the poses over my references, but here I wanted to do it by hand. It was also a little weird to draw her with no makeup on, but I felt like that will look better here. Then I did an expression sheet for Mingu, just trying to work out his personality and practice more expressions. This took a while, all the sketching and line art, so I decided to just do flat colors. This was already testing my patience. Then I did the same thing with Elsa. She's much more expressive and emotional. She jumps a lot between anger and happiness. Also, no one noticed that, but her earrings, which is also where her witch powers are stored, aren't visible on all of these. They're visible on the real her and are hidden when she puts on a happy and friendly face. I felt very smart for that. Here I updated Dan's face a little bit. He just started feeling really bland to me. The adjustments are listed here. I haven't really applied them to an actual drawing yet, but I like this a lot more. This is my redesign of LED from Monster High. This is also a doll that I made and I'm really happy with it. It is very different from the original design. I wanted her to be a cyborg, basically. And since I used the Frankie doll for the custom, I added a prosthetic leg to the design as well. I like the coloring here. And then I got into a Cassandra and Seline mood, and the remaining drawings is just them. The anatomy here was very off for most of the process. At the very end I had to adjust it a lot. I like Cassandra's outfit here. This is their reunion. Seline owns a restaurant and, like it says there, Cassandra is banned from most places in town, so it was pretty easy to find which one is Seline's. And Seline isn't very happy to see her at first, but she still offers her free coffee. I really like how they look here, and I love the colors. I almost gave Seline a green shirt again, but no, I'm not doing that again. Then I had to draw them kissing, of course. I was a little lost on the background, so I did a gradient. I don't know if I like it though, but hey, it's old women kissing. And the last drawing I did in June is this one. The backstory here is it was Ben's death anniversary, so Seline was feeling very down. She argued with her husband that day, so she was staying alone at her restaurant, drinking. Usually being alone helps her, because she didn't really have anyone to rely on besides her family, but at this point she was back in contact with Cassandra, and she couldn't stop thinking about her. So after a few drinks, she calls her, Cassandra arrives at the restaurant, and they just talk about anything and everything, just to keep Seline's mind off of things. They might have kissed, maybe. And when it gets late, Seline doesn't want to go home yet, so Cassandra just brings her to her house and Seline stays the night. And this drawing is the morning after. I like how Seline turned out. The background was a little tricky. I like the line art, but when I did the coloring I didn't like it as much. That happens to me a lot. But some blurring and airbrushing helped, I think. And this was the last drawing I did. Before we end this though, I also want to show some of the commissions I did. Not all of them, just the ones I could find and am particularly proud of. I do commissions through Instagram and they're usually open unless I'm really busy or have multiple commissions in progress at the same time. First is this chibi character sheet of the commissioner's OC. It was very fun to draw all the items, especially the blood bags. Another chibi character sheet. This was super interesting to do. I remember the reference I got was in a very unique art style that's very different from mine, and it was fun to translate that. And the coloring was fun with a bright red accent. Next is a bust of the commissioner's OC. It was really fun and I'm happy with the coloring. I think this one is for the same commissioner, if I remember correctly. Same thing. It was fun and I'm happy with the coloring here. Next I did two drawings for one commissioner. Here I was designing parents for their OCs. It was very interesting to sketch and color. There were a lot of things I had to keep track of and that can be difficult for me, but it's really rewarding when it's all put together. Then I did a bust of the commissioner and their partner. I also really like portrait commissions like this. It's a lot of fun and it also helps me with facial diversity. Then I did 4 drawings for one commissioner, and it's a repeat commissioner. 2 of the drawings are of the parents I drew earlier, and the other 2 I had to design as well. I love these. I love the poses, I love the coloring. I really took my time with each step and it really paid off here. Then I again did multiple drawings for one commissioner. I did a full body for a character reference and a chibi reference sheet. I kind of had to design this character. I was given lots and lots of references and descriptions to go off of. It was a lot to remember, but again it was very rewarding when it was all put together. On the sheet, all the little items were really fun to draw and color. And the last commission is this bust. I love this as well. The character's design is very, very pretty. I love the colors. There's a lot of similar colors, and usually when I don't do line art I'm worried about them kind of mixing together, but I think I did good here. And this is the very last drawing from this video. I want to thank everyone who has commissioned me in the past, especially if you are a repeat commissioner. It means the world that you trust me enough to commission me multiple times, but also it's not at all required. I appreciate all kinds of support. Here is a comparison of the first and the last drawing. I can see progress, mostly in facial anatomy, and I feel a lot more comfortable drawing backgrounds by hand instead of using photos or just not doing them. Sometimes I even draw them without references. But this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Check out my other socials, they will be on the screen and in the description. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!